David, in the meantime, has been off fighting all kinds of battles. And one day this other guy comes to him and says, hey, we need an alliance, you and me. We do. We can rule the kingdom together. And David says, okay, and I have the best idea to cement this alliance. Guess what it is? What? I want my wife back. Well, you got two of them over there. No. The first one, I want Michael. So, they send a messenger to get Michael. She's over here in this other land with her new happy life. And the Bible doesn't spell things out for us. It's usually just facts, but it doesn't say that David wants his wife because he loves her. It doesn't say that David wants his wife back because he's never forgotten her. You know what he says? I want my wife because I won her. Remember that contest I won when you thought I was going to die? I didn't die, and I won her, and she's my property, and you bring her back. That's not exactly romantic, is it, ladies? How many of you would like to say, hey, you're my property, get over here? It's not very romantic, and it gets worse for Michael. Because when they go to get her, she doesn't have a choice. And her new husband, the one that she really wasn't crazy about at first, he's following behind her in the road the whole way back, crying. One hand out. Don't do this. I love her. Don't take my wife. I love her. And Michael's looking at him. I don't want to go back. I love him. I got past that, all that pain and that hurt when my dad tried to kill my husband and my husband left and I didn't see him for years. I got past that. I don't want to go back. I want the one that's crying for me. I don't want the one who thinks I'm a prize that he won. I want the one that loves me. They get back to the kingdom and there stands David. They've not seen each other in years, and he's not looking at her with that sweet little eye that he used to. He's looking like, there's my prize. And the new king of Israel takes one look at her husband who has followed behind her the whole way and says, go home. Now, if we were talking about a fairy tale or Twilight or a movie, then he would jump up, grab a sword, and kill David. It'd all be over, and we'd all jump for joy because he did the right thing, right? Real life doesn't work that way. Her husband, as much as he loved her, he had to go home. Fast forward a few months later. And this is what the Bible says. In 2 Samuel 6:16, it was so, as the ark of Yahweh, or God, came into the city of David, that Michal, the daughter of Saul, looked out the window and saw King David leaping and dancing before God, and she despised him in her heart. There's that picture on the wall that scared me to death. She's standing there, and she's looking down at David, and he's worshiping God, and he's all happy. And she hates him. Would you hate him? I'd hate him. Understanding Michal's story, the question isn't why is she angry. It's who wouldn't be angry. I'd be angry. Was David nice to her? What? Anybody? At first. But was he just with her now? No, he didn't treat her with love, did he? What came into her heart was this question. How could God do this to me? All those people down there are rejoicing with David. They're watching my husband dancing, shouting, praising the Lord. Don't they know what he did to me? Don't they know how badly he hurt me? And he doesn't care. It's a pretty bad place to be, isn't it? How many of you have been hurt? You don't have to raise your hands, but think about it in your mind. How many of you have been hurt? Let me tell you a couple of things about me that I didn't mention when I was telling you what was cool. When I was 13, my dad left. He said he was going on a business trip, but he didn't show back up for 3 years. We lost our house. We lived in a car for a day or so until this really nice lady in our town gave us a house to live in. And That was pretty embarrassing, because the house that she gave us to live in was right in the corner of a bad neighborhood. And every time my friends were driving to school, they'd have to see me cutting the grass since I was the oldest daughter. And there weren't any boys in the family, I had to cut the grass. I started getting angry. Really angry. And bitter. I didn't have the same kind of clothes everybody else did. I got angrier. And I'd go to church, because I've been in church since I was about 4 days old. Every service, my mom was really strict about that. I'd go to church and I'd see everybody else going, "Oh, Jesus, you're so good to us." And I did it because I was supposed to, but I didn't ever feel that really, because I was really angry. Why did you do this to me? What did I do to deserve this? And I'd see those other people hurting, and somebody would hurt my feelings. They'd make fun of my clothes, that I couldn't do anything to help. People in my youth group would laugh and think I didn't know it. And then they'd be up there going, "Oh, Jesus, thank you so much." And I would look at them, and I'd think in my heart, how in the world can you worship God after you hurt me? How can you do that? And I'd like to tell you that it was a really pretty story, and there was some great ending to it somehow, where somebody came in and swept all my troubles away. That didn't happen for me, because when I was modeling at 17, I also collapsed because I had an eating disorder, and I just about died. What was on the outside was really pretty. They could dress it up nice. What was on the inside was messed up. You know what? I got bitter. Looking at your faces, I don't know you all, not well. But I'm going to guess, if I knew everything that was deep inside your heart, every one of you knows what that moment feels like. That moment when you've been so badly hurt. You've been wounded, and it's not fair. And you go to try to talk to somebody, and they just tell you, "You got to get past it. Life's not fair. You don't have any right to be angry." I'm going to tell you something different. I'm going to tell you what I wish somebody had told Michael. You do have a right to be angry. And you have the right to be bitter. What's happened to you in your life is probably not fair. And the people who did it, maybe they didn't get punished. Maybe they're still living their life and things are still great for them. You have the right to be bitter. But guess what the end of bitterness is? You know what happened to Michael? She got so angry in that moment at that window that she marched down there and she said, "Look at the King of Israel. Look at you making a fool of yourself, dancing around in your underwear in the street. You're an idiot." She forgot for just a moment that while he might have seemed like an idiot at the time, he was the king. The worst thing that could happen to a woman in Michael's day is that she could not have a child. Because that child was her legacy. That child caused her to be esteemed in the kingdom. Michael said, "You think I'm a fool now? You just wait. I'll make a fool of myself even more." And he continued to worship. Michael never had a child. What most biblical scholars say that means is that David never treated her like a wife again. There was never a hug in Michael's life. There was never somebody to come pat her on the back and say, "I love you." And the Bible only says one more thing about her at all. Happens a little while later in a story about another lady named Rizpah. Since Michael couldn't have children, she raised 5 boys that were not her own. They were killed as part of a political thing. Same way that her life got messed up by politics. The 5 boys that she raised died too. What I wish somebody would have said to Michael is, "Michael, you have the right to be bitter. Just like every one of you, something in your life gives you the right to be bitter. But the end of bitterness is bad." What I found out as I've grown older is that people do treat you badly. But you get to choose how you're going to react to that. You can get angry, you can get bitter, or you can move on. Now, I know some of you are wondering because you're feeling that anger again, and you're thinking, one, that I have no idea what you've been through, and I don't. And two, you're thinking, what am I supposed to do with all this pain? You can't just expect me to swallow it and pretend it's not there, can you? No.